Okay dah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. Welcome to KST Takrim 2021 Research Seminar on Research Synergy through Collaboration, UiTM and IIUM Experience. So we are very excited and very honored to have a special guest with us today, which is Associate Professor Technologist, Dr. Norhaslinda Kamaruddin, or Dr. Linda. Okay, so before we start, let us start our session with Al-Fatiha. Okay, this research seminar is conducted by Research Unit 2, okay, Pervasive Computing and Brain Development Research Group, PCBDG. Okay, before we start, okay, let me introduce a bit about Dr. Linda. Yeah. Okay, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Norhaslinda Kamaruddin is actually currently an Associate Professor in Faculty of Computer and Mathematical Sciences in University Technology Mara, UiTM. Okay, she has served UiTM since 2011 until now. Okay, she was also an adjunct professor in Faculty of Science and Technology, Universitas Airlangga, Indonesia in 2020. Okay, so Dr. Linda received her bachelor's degree in Information Technology Computer Science from UKM and followed by her Master of Software Engineering from Malaya University. Okay, in 2013, she got her PhD Computer Science from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore, which is the world's 11th best university in the world according to the QS ranking 2020. Okay, so Dr. Linda is very active in conducting studies on computational intelligence, okay, focusing on effective computing by examining detailed emotions in speech, which is emotional speech, and also brain signal patterns from electroencephalogram EEG. Okay, that then will be able to give insight to stress and anxiety level, as well as the effect of emotions towards various neurological disorders such as dysphoria, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, and other related learning disabilities. Okay, other than that, she is also working in big data analytics, especially in learning analytics that focusing on student profiling and talent development, as well as health analytics and concerning about mental health. Okay, so she has been collaborating with PCBDG group, okay, since before. So now for today's session, we would like to hear her experiences in the collaboration, research synergy through collaboration, UiTM and IIUM experiences. All right, so by the way, for the audience, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself or you can type in the chat box. Okay, for those of you who are watching from YouTube, you can type in the chat box. Okay, you can ask the questions in the end of the presentation or even during the presentation if Dr. Linda is okay with it.
Oh, sure.
Linda, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so without further ado, let's welcome our special guest, Dr. Linda. Okay, Dr. Linda, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Liyana, for a very lengthy introduction of me. Well, anyway, my name is Associate Professor Dr. Norhaslinda Kamaruddin. Today, what I want to do is that to share a little bit of experience and do's and don'ts when we are doing collaboration together. So let me share a slide that I have prepared earlier so that it can assist me in my presentation. Yeah. Right. So basically, my title today is Research Synergy Through Collaboration, IIUM and UiTM Experiences. And I'm not going to really give lecture of how to do collaboration, what would be the best method, what are the sure success story. No. Today what I'm going to share is an honest experience, the ups and downs, as well as, of course, all the hurdles that we actually face during the research collaboration between UiTM and IIUM. So, so when we are talking about collaboration, this is something that always comes to our mind. Collaboration is about solution, joint effort, management, project, goal. You also need to actually manage inter-organization, intra-organization, and all of these are actually boiled down to one big word, collaboration. So I think I want to scope it down a bit of using this working definition. Collaboration is a group of people with different ideas, perspective, and expertise, which the most important part can work together, because why? We want to make sure that we can have the innovation solution to actually solve a problem. Of course, whatever that we do, we want to solve a problem, but in what manner? So with collaboration, we want the solution to be faster, to be economical, we can actually reduce the price in a very efficient manner. And then at the end of the day, all of this is to achieve a common goal. So from that big word, of course, I simplify into few terms that actually to discuss about how the collaboration that we actually do between IIUM and UiTM. So when we talk about collaboration, we are talking about cooperation. So we need to work with each other, and then the relevant information and resources are exchanged. Let me differentiate between cooperation and collaboration. So let's say I want to do a research. So I go and ask IIUM. For example, I go and send email to Prof Wahab asking about, hey, I have a questionnaire. Can you please disseminate this questionnaire to your students? So that is called cooperation, because the work or the answer from IIUM students is sent to me without sharing the objective together. I mean, I want to write a paper, but it can be a collaboration if we write the paper together. But if it is just a pledge of help, it's only like cooperation between IIUM and UiTM. Or another thing that we may want to actually think about is, let's say I'm opening a nasi lemak stall, then someone outside want to sell fried bihun. So you come to my stall and say, hey, can I actually put my fried bihun here so that you can actually sell it to the customers together? So that is actually, then I say, of course, yeah, why not? So that is actually cooperation. But it doesn't mean that we have the same goal. Do I care whether I sell the fried bihun or not? I mean, I don't really care about it. But I am willing to help. So, but if we are talking about collaboration, I must actually find ways and means to sell, to sell the fried bihun together as much as possible. Or another example is that, I'm not sure why I'm giving a food example here. Maybe I'm a little bit nervous, so I don't take my lunch, but that is beside the point. So what I'm saying here is that cooperation means helping each other, but collaboration is a higher up, means that we need to have a same goal. We have to have a shared vision. And this is what makes collaboration is powerful. Then we also have teamwork. It doesn't mean that only institution to institution, but intra-institution, we need to actually establish who is going to be the leader, who's going to be the member. So what are the role of this hierarchical position? So one need to know where you are positioned, then only you can actually contribute more, because we don't want to actually overstep other people's boundary. And this is a little bit more tricky because we are talking about two institutions. UiTM has our own group. IIUM has its own group. So the keyword here is we need to tolerate and respect. Then, of course, all of these, the information, the process, the SOP, and so on, need to be communicated to each other. Not only this need to be actually discussed in UiTM, but it's also need to be translated to IIUM as well. Because when we are doing work together, roles, responsibilities, and expectation need to be clear. Because otherwise, if we are being in dark, we are not sure. Then when we are in dark, typically we will start thinking that, oh, why I have to do this? Why this guy is not doing this? At the end of the day, we are actually trying to capture trust. So here we have to think in terms of we rather than I. And then we have a lot of people working together. We have a lot of resources, knowledge, expertise, and all these knowledge, expertise, resources, and processes may not be the same. So we have to coordinate them together. For example, one of the things that I like collaborate with IIUM is that IIUM has a very good EEG machine that UiTM have. I'm not saying that UiTM do not have, but I don't have access to it. But in collaborating with IIUM have the machine, so I can actually borrow. And thank you very much, Prof, for allowing me to do that. So that that is basically we can share resource. Then once the data is there, we can actually do more analysis on the data. And of course, all of this only come up with trust. So if you view that individual who shared all this with you, either threat or opportunities. If you view me as a threat, of course, you will not share all this information because we don't want another me too. But if we view it as opportunities that we can actually complement each other, and instead of having, a small group of people working on it, we are actually expanding our horizon to have more people to work together. And of course, the most important question here that we need to answer is that who's going to get credit? Now, we have a lot of people working. A is working, B is working, C is working, D is working. Of course, A, B, C, and D has the ranking. Okay, A may be the leader in IIUM. D may be the leader in UiTM. So who's going to do who? I mean, who's going to do what? Who's getting the credit? Of course, this is where you go back to the communication. This need to be lie down on the table earlier at the first day, okay? Just an example, when we want to actually write a paper, usually we will actually sit down, okay? Dr. Linda, okay, can you please look at these other data? Can you please look at the literature review, for example? So I will look at the analysis of the result. And then, of course, after we have done our part, we sit down together and consolidate the work. And of course, to build this, it cannot be, you have at the back of your mind, can I trust this guy or not? Or will he actually steal my ideas? Or will he actually grab all the limelight? Then it will not work well. One time maybe works, two times maybe works, third time, I'm telling you, it is not going to work. Therefore, all of this need to be translated transparently so that when you have trust, basically you will share more. And of course, one hit is no better than two hits, right? And none of us is as smart as all of us, because I may have a very good idea, but I need someone else to be my sounding board to tell me whether, hey, that is too far-fetched. Turn down. Come down to the real world, or it is not practical, or it is just too expensive. I have my friend who can do it better. This is the kind of ideas and discussion. Of course, sometimes some people may look at us as, oi, are you actually quarreling or fighting or what? But that is just a heated discussion, because at the end of the day, we want to have a co-creation or shared goals and vision. And this is important in any project, in any collaboration. All of these particular concept need to be consolidated together in such a way that it is win-win situation. It cannot be you win, I lose, or I win, you lose. No, because then it will break the trust. Then when the trust is break, all channels of working together, cooperation, teamwork, and everything will just drop. So as one of the guy, I think he is a Korean, he said that one piece of log creates a small fire. Of course, it is sufficient to warm you up. Okay, but if you throw more pieces of that log to the fire, of course, it will create bigger fire, a bonfire in fact. And when we have bonfire, it can actually warm up, okay, your entire circle of friends. So ladies and gentlemen, individuality counts, but of course, teamwork diamonds. So to give a background, okay, how can actually how this lady from from UiTM come in and barge into IIUM territory? So let me actually share a little bit of background. So basically, I am a PhD student in Nanyang Technological University. Graduated in 2013. My PhD is basically cognitive inspired speaker affective state profiling. So if you can see here, okay, I like to share because this is sharing session. This is my lab, C2I lab. So basically, I have to go to Singapore every day, but at that time I stay in JB, so I have to transfer to and fro every day for 4 hours a day. Why I don't just stay at home? I'm just, well, not motivated enough to do any work at home, right? So in a simpler word, what is my PhD work is actually, it is about how computer can understand emotion in speech. Okay, bear in mind, I get my PhD in 2013. At that time, the technology is not as advanced as now. Now it's quite fast. We can actually, of course, the advancement of technology is so fast and so far. So, but we have to find more and more innovative solution. So to simplify my work in my PhD work is that I want to actually teach the computer how the computer can actually understand emotion through speech. So on top of that, to make it more complicated, I mean, we as a human, we understand perfectly. For example, if you went to Japan, so sometimes you listen to their conversation, it's like, so although you sound like they are angry, but they are not, but you can understand them. Of course, because of this cultural influence information inside of the speech, those within the culture can understand it perfectly well compared to other people. For example, just to share my experience when we visit Germany, so the way they speak is quite gruff, macho like that. So, but actually that's just the way they speak. So it doesn't mean that they are angry or upset. So the emotion that I'm looking at during my PhD is angry, sad, happiness, and neutral. So those are actually the emotion that I'm looking at. So basically the work that I do is on speech. Just to give you some idea, yeah, how it is important to have speech emotion. And then this is the situation that I can actually encapsulate. Remember, this is a phone conversation. So human is very interesting. Even without the facial expression, gestures, we can still understand what are the emotion is all about. So let me just share this video to give the gist of what actually I want to train the computer about. So that is basically why the computer need to understand emotion as well. So we know that when the computer understand emotion, life will getting more interesting. Oh, sorry. So another work that I did for my PhD is about driver behavior. This is basically to identify different driver behavior under different stressor. So basically, we are actually collecting 11 driver, the way they drive, and we put several stressor so that they have to actually talk to us. They have to actually do some mathematical equation. Then we start to actually measure their stress based on speech. Of course, if anyone interested to actually collaborate on us with us, we have actually video data that actually record the facial expression. This is, I would say, virgin data. We did not do anything yet on the video processing. What we are using, what we are looking at is more on the speech itself. And of course, there are students in NTU is actually looking at gas and brake pedal. So would be more interesting if more work can be done on this data. So now some of you may ask, yeah, okay, fine. This lady is doing speech on cultural emotion and driver behavior. So how can actually I come and join PCBDG project? Now, this is where I'm going to tell you about the actual thing, the real one. Okay, all the blood, tears, and perspiration. Now, imagine, yeah, this is where we start to think, is it a stumbling block or it is a stepping stone? So in every situation, if we are actually given the scenario, so what are you going to take? You want to take it as a stumbling block or you want to take this as a stepping stone? So the project in IIUM is basically on brain research. So this is totally new field for me. Okay, I am actually from speech. I'm not familiar with EEG, but I think it is an opportunity. It will be interesting to see how can brain works and how speech can actually put together. Can we actually see how they are actually complement each other? So the challenges that I have, the first one is, of course, the input device. So in speech, I mean, I just use microphone. What is so difficult about microphone? It's not difficult at all. Okay, you just plug and play. That's it. It works. Okay, but in brain signal research, you have to use EEG. So when you want to use EEG, you need to know, okay, how many channels that you are going to use. So most of our work, we are using 19 channels, and this is also recommended by a lot of medical practitioners that is sufficient. Then the size of the signal for EEG is very, 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 very small, but for speech it's like 44 kilohertz. But I'm using for 8 kilohertz because I'm trying to emulate a phone call. Then of course, when you have a very small data, okay, even the blink of your eyes, the movement of the muscle at your face, you start moving your hand, and everything will actually disturb the data. But of course, all of this, I did not face in speech. Speech, as long as I get a good data, okay, there is no noise, there is no duplication of the data, I'm good. But for EEG, the data is very sensitive. But yet, it is very interesting because you cannot lie using EEG. Because speech you can actually control. Okay, when you are angry, you can actually control your speech. That you can basically use sarcasm to tell that you are upset. But not EEG. If you are tired, it can show perfectly well using the EEG signal. So for me, this is a new field. This is a new challenge. I have to step up my game. I have to understand it better. I have to read more on EEG. So this is my first challenge when doing collaboration with IIUM. Then the second challenge that I face is that feeling disconnected. Usually, Prof will actually conduct a discussion, group discussion. So all the members will come, and then some of us will actually present some findings and so on. But in 2014, I am actually transferred from UiTM Shah Alam to Jasin. And then because of the distance, and at that time, I have to basically survive. It's a real new place. I can proudly say that I am one of the pioneer in Jasin. We actually, build up the faculty. At that time, the trees are still being planted. I mean, the place is very, 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 very new. So because of the distance, and because I'm so busy to actually trying to survive in Jasin, there is a feeling of disconnected. So distance is there, and when you feel that you are not actually looking at it actively, so I start to drop my research work there, to be honest. So it's not easy. What I'm saying is not easy, but you have to cope up with all this situation, because you cannot give excuse, oh, I cannot do research because, well, I'm too far away. I mean, we are talking about 200 kilometers from Jasin to IIUM, so it's not an excuse. So of course, we find ways and means to actually communicate so that the research will not being pushed aside. And another challenge, or I would say opportunity, I would say, different organization rate tapes. So when we are talking about rate tapes, UiTM and IIUM have different semester time. So during IIUM break, maybe a lot more people want to write more papers, but at that time, I am actually having my full-blown semester. Typically, for me, it depends on whether I'm holding a post or not. So my load will be different, and of course, this can pose as a challenge as well. And then the procedures are different. I'm lucky because I've learned a lot from IIUM. One of the things that IIUM has done earlier than UiTM is about ethics committee. And from the experience that I faced in IIUM, I learn and apply when I'm trying to do my ethics committee here in UiTM. Therefore, I'm very grateful for that. So this is where the neurophysiological approach, this is basically Hafiz. Okay, there's two Hafiz here. The first Hafiz is my student here. Hafiz Nasir is my master by research, and this is the work that he did. Then the guy here, the brother here is Hafiz also, the IIUM student doing his PhD, and he is one of the participants in our experiment. So imagine, from just a microphone, I have to also learn how this placement of the electrode on the scalp. And I am very amazed with IIUM team, because you can actually put the EEG very fast, very quick, with very little impedance. So that is amazing. Hats off to IIUM team. So because of the challenges that I have, I remember that I told you that I went to Jasin in 2014, come back to Shah Alam in 2016. Now I am in Shah Alam. So this is a discussion that I have. Okay, we have Dr. Wira, Dr. Kayum, Dr. Kamis. All of them now is already a doctor, Alhamdulillah. And you can see here at the back of Jasin is very, very clear. The tree is only planted. But now if you go to Jasin, wow, amazing, it's beautiful. I wish I can actually bring you all to Jasin to see how nice the campus is. So all the hardship and so on, of course, there must be a success story. So Alhamdulillah, we managed to do co-supervision of Dr. Hamwira, Dr. Qayyum, Dr. Kamis, Dr. Zaliza for her master, Sister Najwani, Hafiz, my student, master by research, and Dr. to be insyaAllah, Hani and Izzati, and Huzaini is my UiTM student as well. Then we managed to secure few grants, TRJS, FRJS, REX, Mitra, Special UiTM grant to actually conduct our work together. Then we, Alhamdulillah, we managed to secure Best Paper Awards in few conferences, ICEECOM 2020, RAICAS 2019, ICEECOM 2018, EXCET 2017, ICIC 2016, and KANE 2013. Alhamdulillah. Then we managed to actually do publication together. We have 32 journals, 44 conferences, and 4 chapters in book. Then, of course, we have few innovation that we presented and managed to get gold, silver, and bronze in innovation activities. So here are some of the grant that we managed to secure. We have national and internal grant as well. So the total cumulative grant that we managed to secure is about 1 million ringgit, Alhamdulillah, on that. So after sharing, I think I'm going to tone down a bit of my discussion. So this is basically the ending of my sharing session. So just to share with you, how close the collaboration that I have with IIUM. So I went to Nagoya University, Japan for a workshop in DSP in vehicles. This is basically in Nagoya University, Japan. The workshop was fantastic, I would say. So we are actually looking at how we can actually use EEG on drivers, and how can this behavior we can actually capture. But that is not what I want to share now. What I want to share is this. I was actually being invited to be one of the panel, young researcher panel. And what I want to show here is that you see my name here, and the organizer thought I am from IIUM. So it just show that how close the relationship are between me and IIUM. Even they thought that I am from IIUM. So I sent this to my former dean, and my former dean is not happy with it. But well, I cannot do anything because the organizer make this kind of, slight misunderstanding. But what I'm telling you is that the work between IIUM and UiTM is there, and I hope that this kind of collaboration will be continued and will be strengthened for the future. With that, I end my sharing. Anybody, if you are willing to actually share the and contribute more to the collaboration, please do so. And this is my email. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Linda, for the very interesting sharing session. Yeah, and we have seen the nostalgic pictures before the pandemic and so on. Okay, so if you would like to connect with Dr. Linda after this, you can email her at norhaslinda@tmsk.uitm.edu.my. Okay, so we are going to open the floor if you have any comment or discussion. Okay, please feel free to unmute your mic, or you can put your question in the chat box.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Hi Dr. Aslinda. Thank you for very interesting sharing session. Okay, so I just want to have one cute question for you. Actually, I wanted to know what is your current research that you are doing now, and are you still doing the research that you are doing before, like driver behavior, speech recognition, and you still continuing that research or how? Thank you. Thank you,
Right.
Dr. Liyana and Dr. Haslinda.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Zaliza. Well, of course, whatever research that I'm still continuing. Currently, I add a little bit more to my profile. I did actually work on big data analytics as well. Of course, I work very well. I mean, I work very extensively in speech emotion and the EEG, but to give better to add, not to give better, to add more perspective to the research I did at big data analytics as well. So one of the work that we are doing is on the student profile. So now we are trying to actually look from different angle as well, not just their mental state, but of course we want to take a look at how the previous results of this particular individual can be consolidated together to the mental state. Because one of the student, brother Hani, is actually looking at the stress analysis on the students, especially during COVID-19 pandemic. So of course, it would be interesting if we can actually capture. I mean, we can actually capture the data, the brain data of the students using the EEG. But now, because of we are trying to minimize the contact, so what are the ways and means for us to measure stress? Maybe from their social media information, maybe from their communication with Twitter, TikTok, and so on. So how can we actually use the EEG data to validate whatever finding that we find in their social media uh, input? So if we can do this, maybe we need to actually do the interview with these students. So this is where we will have our speech emotion. So all of this, the different data, the variety of data, the speed of the data that is being processed will boil down to big data analytics. And that is what I hope that I will get more collaborators work together on this, because, well, one man is no island. Yeah, I cannot work in silo. You have to work together. As I said, I mean, individuality sparks, but of course, teamwork's dynamite. If it actually answer the question of Dr. Zali.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Haslinda.
All right. Okay. I have a question here. How do you measure individual contribution in collaboration, and what was your publication strategy? Wow, very interesting question. Right. As I said earlier, the most important part is discussion. So you have to lie it down, and you have to actually let your partner understand what you want. So, for example, you have already written a paper. So most likely, whoever write most or whoever produce most for that particular article should get the corresponding author. That is what I believe. Okay, and if the paper is complete, however, I have to redo like 80% of it out of it. So I don't think that it's fair for me, not to be the corresponding author. But of course, this is based on the discussion. You have to discuss with your partners. And it's actually the most important part is trust, because at the end of the day, what do you want to achieve? You want the paper to be published. So if you want the paper to be published, so we have to actually understand each other. Okay, I will do this part, you will do this part. Okay, let's see who's going to be the corresponding author, who's going to be the first author, how much you have contributed, how much the other party contributed. Then, of course, you will come into a agreement. So that is how basically you try to reduce argument. And anything can be discussed actually. I mean, you don't have to pull each other hair. I don't think that it's fair to pull everyone's hair anyway. It's just because it's not just once. We don't want to write paper once. We want to write paper many times together. So this is the kind of understanding that you must have. And then when you ask about my publication strategy, again, it's very much dependent on the work that you are doing. So if your work produce a lot of data, a lot of results, maybe you want to actually zoom in to few papers, maybe Q1, Q2 papers, and then maybe few you want to get some feeling from the audience. Maybe you do it for conferences to get some feedback from the members of the floor. Then one just to share one of the experience that we have, sharing with actually one professor from USM. So we are actually presenting our work, and then of course during the conference presentation, there's a lot of question and answer, and then he is basically a medical practitioner, and he don't agree with our work because he said that we want to replace the medical doctor, but that is not what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to actually complement each other. So that is another keyword that we need to actually work on, complementing each other. So that is where we start to actually collaborate with him, get some of his input, and from the perspective of medical practitioner, so that we can actually improve on our work. So if I may actually answer Prof Adamu, this is basically the how I basically works with Prof Wahab team, and how actually we basically did our publication. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Linda, and also Dr. Adamu for the question. Okay, is there any other questions from the floor? All right, so if you don't have any questions, so I have some questions actually. So related with what Dr. Adamu has just asked. So actually in collaboration, you have like many team members, right? So many different ideas because many heads there. So how do you like divide the line between, okay, enough discussion and let's proceed to do the actual research? I mean, when do you think there is enough of the brainstorming discussion, or is it important that we put a lot of time? You said that in the first day you need to clarify who do this, who did what, right? So when do you think is enough discussion of that and proceed with the research itself?
Well, honestly, discussion will never end. That's what I believe. And that is what I experience as well. It will never stop. And actually, the shape of discussion would be a dynamic, because when you find something new and something that unexpected, the result goes down the drain. So alamak, you have to redo the experiment. Who's going to do the experiment? The students already left the university, so the new student come in, you have to teach back, and the story goes. I think every one of us has experienced this, and it's a major headache. Suddenly new guy come in, tell us new ideas. We don't quite like it because we already established something. Then you come and disturb the whatever understanding. Those things happen. I mean, but whatever it is, I've how to tell them, I've been a leader and I've also been a member, so I can actually view from two sides of the coin. People love to be listened. People love to be listened. Sometimes the leader just need to actually spend time to listen to the individual, because we never know that whatever grumbling that they have is actually is the stumbling block. That's what I believe. It may be some of you may be agreed, some of you may be disagree, but let us agree to disagree. But this is what I feel. So human, just maybe because I'm doing research on speech emotion, but I believe human love to be listened. Sometimes half an hour is enough. So let the individual grumble to you, and when he or she is happy, the whole team will be happy, because in a big ship, one hole can actually sink the whole ship. So the most important part is, of course, we cannot make everybody love us. We cannot make everybody like us. But at least if we are fair, at least everybody will willing to work together. So as Dr. Liyana asked, when are we going to do work? Talk, all talk, no action. When are we going to, I'm tired of this. But okay, I also the sort of person love to talk. And when people don't listen to me, I get upset, to be honest. So I hope that I don't expect people to listen all the time, but I expect at least when we are being serious about it, is a concern, let's discuss. But of course, during the discussion part, the research still need to be continued. I mean, I don't believe in all the talking. The doing things is important because that's how Prof Wahab trained me actually. Research by objective. He don't care how I did my research as long as I produce. So it's kind of difficult because at the end of the day, hey, Dr. Norhaslinda, where's the result? So that's always like that. I mean, no matter how lengthy emails I'm going to send to him, it doesn't really work because what matters is the result. So this is basically my experience as well. My first day doing my PhD is actually just a quick sharing. I never worked on MATLAB at all. I'm more Visual Basic lady and more C++ lady. At that time, Python is not picking up yet. So we are using MATLAB. So he come to the lab and said, okay, Norhaslinda, I'm not a doctor yet at that time. I'm just a PhD student. He gave me this thick of MATLAB manual. I want you to pick it up and show me what you have learned. So it's about the survival of the fittest. Well, here I am. So again, Dr. Liyana, people just want to be listened. Sometimes it is worth to listen a bit to our subordinate, to listen to the leader as well. But whatever it is, discussion will never end. Of course, the most important part is if you can actually address who is the loudest, usually it will be easier to manage the team. Because sometimes the loudest will actually sway the sentiment of the team. Because most of the people, they are just, I don't want to tell her, I don't want to make people upset, I don't want to, rock the boat and so on. But be careful, those who are silence is actually can be more dangerous than who are loud. So that's one Malay wording said, air yang tenang jangan disangka tak ada buaya kan. So only the silent one is sometimes can be very nasty, but actually the one that may rock the whole dynamic is the vocal one. So this is where the leader need to play his or her role in managing this whole dynamics. That is my answer of it.
Thank you, Dr. Linda. So we also get some sharing on the emotional psychology of collaboration in the team. All right, thank you, Dr. Linda. We are still opening the floor for the question if you have any. If not, I will proceed with question. Okay. All right. Probably I will ask again if you don't mind, Dr. Linda. Okay.
Yes, silakan.
Okay, actually, you mentioned before that you did the speech in your PhD. You did speech signal processing, right? And then you moved to brain signal processing. So let's say that if we want to collaborate in areas that we don't have the necessary background, okay, then we need to start from zero, right? So how long do you think we should prepare for this kind of collaboration, or any advice on that? At least on.
Well, I don't think that any researcher will start from zero. I don't think so. Every one of us already have our fundamental knowledge. So although I come from speech, so speech is still digital signal processing. EEG is also digital signal processing, and of course the programming part is already there, the fundamental part. So of course you have to actually pick up things like how can actually we measure EEG, how can we actually pre-process the signal, excuse me. So it is very much dependent on the individual, I would say. Some people can pick up very fast if he or she got intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. What can motivate people to actually learn new things? As I said, to actually continue Dr. Zaliza's question, what actually I'm working now, and I said I am also working on big data analytics. There is neither new things. I'm not sure why I keep on jumping around from this to that, but still juggling with a lot of things. But what I'm saying here is that it's up to you. You as an individual, what you want to do in your research, what you want to be known as. I mean, for me, I want to be known as the effective expert. I want to actually, now I'm expanding. I'm working on the speech, I'm working on the brain signal, things that I start to actually work a bit on text analytics, not much, but start, looking around, seeing how actually big data can actually help in terms of text and so on. In fact, we got one internal grant from from UiTM on text analytics for talent development. So what I'm saying here is that as you grow, you want to learn more. You want to actually mix and match your knowledge. I'm not going to say, okay, you are going to need at least 1 year or at least 5 years down the road. Because none of us start from zero. We have our fundamental knowledge. We have our understanding. Whatever knowledge that we have previously from our PhD, from our master, from our degree, even from our kindergarten days, is actually encapsulate of who you are. So you cannot actually easily, okay, I want to switch field. Now EEG sounds more promising. I don't want to look at speech anymore. Useless. No, it's not. It's because you are, in my case, I got my PhD for speech. So that I hold as my expertise. But of course, I don't want to look at speech alone. I want to expand my horizon. I want to look at the EEG. So let's learn about how this EEG can actually match with speech. Then, now I look at, wow, big data analytics is another new and interesting field. And now we are collecting a lot of data. We get the speech data, we get the EEG data. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have the video data that is still virgin. We did not do anything yet on that. Imagine if we can contribute, if we can combine, consolidate everything. Don't you think that the knowledge would be better? How are we going to stop? When will I know I have done learning? No, I cannot say that, wow, I'm now the expert of speech. I don't have to learn about speech anymore. The technology changed so fast. I have to cope up. But again, what do you want? What do you want to be known as? Because at the end of the day, each and every one of us are expert in our field. But I also believe in jack of all trades, master of none. So I'm not saying that you should just focus on one. I think you should expand your horizon, but still working in the same domain will help you better. For example, I still work in effective computing. That is something that I work on. And of course, there's a lot of things that I do not know yet. There's a lot of new technologies, current technologies that before I think is good to have. Now it's a must to have. I think even the kids now, imagine, now face-to-face communication is not a must anymore. now we have new norm. Everything we can. Now I'm sitting in UiTM actually having this kind of discussion with you. Imagine before I have to drive to IIUM, set up everything. See, because we are not used to it. But now everything changed. We have new norm because again we can actually look at it as opportunity, and we can also look at it as threat. So to answer your question, Dr. Liyana, there is no exact time that we can actually say that this is the ample time for you to learn. Especially EEG is not something that you can, easily pick up and just, wow, I'm the expert. No. It is never that. But I think the continuous improvement that we do day by day, that's count. That's count. So no matter where you are, the first step is always the hardest, and there's no stopping you actually. I mean, the glass, the ceiling is actually, it's not a glass. You can actually go wherever you want to do. So even those researchers in the team, if you think that EEG may not be something that you want to work on, it's not a problem. But those are actually fundamental understanding the process, the procedure of doing research. Those are the something that should be instilled in you, and then those are things that cannot be taken from anybody. That's yours. That's yours. So that is to answer Dr. Liyana's question. I mean, there's no definite time to learn actually, and I think every one of us will continue learning as we being mature and being more knowledgeable in whatever field that we are selected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Linda. Yeah, thank you for the tips. Okay, so actually we come to the end of the session. So I would like to thank Dr. Linda very much for the very beneficial sharing session today. So if the audience, if you have any question or you would like to connect with Dr. Linda, you can contact her at Norhaslinda at tmsk.uitm.edu.my. And if you are interested in our research group, Pervasive Computing and Brain Development Research Group, PCBDG, you can email us at pcbdg@gmail.com. Okay, so looking forward to collaborate with you. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Linda. Okay, let's end our session with a camera and Suratul answer. All right, thank you very much, Dr. Linda. Maybe we can have you in other session, maybe inshallah in the future. All right. Is there any announcement from the e-Takrib team?
Photo session tak ada.
Photo session. So like if you can open your camera, we can take a photo for you. But actually, I already take photos of the icons here.
Okay.
Dr. Azura, would you like to have a photo session?
Sorry, Dr. Liyana.
Prof, maybe it's a little bit difficult, but I've already captured the icon of everybody here. Okay. Okay, thank you, Prof, and thank you, Dr. Linda, and also thank you for the KST e-Takrib team. All right, see you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Norhaslinda. Thank you, Dr. Liyana.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Salam.
Salam.